Hi there, good morning. You've tuned into ET Now, and this is Buy Now Sell Now, or rather Buy Now Sell Now Diwali Special Edition. That is Deal or No Deal with me, Cheryl D'Souza. Along with me, I have Snehi Shah.
Very good morning. Yes.
Good morning to you, Snehi, and also happy Dhanteras to you.
Absolutely happy Dhanteras to you, and wishing a very happy Dhanteras to all our viewers and your families as well.
Absolutely, a very happy Dhanteras to all of our viewers and all those who've tuned in. Today, once again, is the Diwali Special Edition of Buy Now Sell Now. That's Deal or No Deal, where stock picks are put under lens. Today, we bring you the insights and expertise of a top analyst. We have Kunal Bothra, who will be joining us on the fundamentals, while we'll have Rajesh Agarwal, who's joining us on, I beg your pardon, we have Kunal Bothra on the technicals and Rajesh Agarwal on the fundamentals, who will break down the stocks on your radar. So from technical indicators to fundamental strength, our experts will deep dive to give you the real picture, whether it's a deal worth seizing or a no deal best left aside. So let's get started on the journey for a smarter and more informed investing decisions. But before that, Snehi, let's take a look at what the markets are doing. Yesterday, we were seeing a very good jump in the markets. Today, we are seeing the opposite.
Well, absolutely. Cheryl, it's Dhanteras. We were expecting to see some signs of the auspicious omen that's there on the street right now. We were expecting to see that reflect onto the markets, but it's not looking very good right now for the markets, because if you take a look at where the Nifty is right now, it's also struggling to manage and hold on to that 24,200 level, because we are sub those levels right now. At 24,180 odd is where we are at on the Nifty. It's been more than a 175, 180 point fall from the highest point of the trading day for the Nifty, and it's only 11 a.m. so that's a little worrying. So let's see what the rest of the day holds for Nifty. If you take a look at Sensex, that's also 0.6% lower, and you have a Nifty Bank, however, that's managing to do well for itself amid a market like this. That index is up 0.3%. But if you take a look at what the broader markets are doing, they're far underperforming even the benchmarks, because you have both mid cap and small cap that are close to 1% lower each as well. You have ICICI Bank, NTPC, BEL, Grasim. These are the ones that have kept the Nifty afloat to whatever extent. But however, the heavy weights on the Nifty right now are Tata Motors, Dr. Reddy's, IndusInd Bank and Bajaj Auto. All of these are weighing on the Nifty right now. If you take a look at some sectoral gainers and losers right now, like I mentioned, Nifty Bank, Financial Services and PSU Banks. These are the only three spaces. So it's seeming good. It's seeming to be like a good day coming in for the entire financial pack. You have private as well as public banks doing well. However, the biggest losers on the street today is Nifty Auto, followed by Pharma, Metal, IT, Energy, Realty, FMCG. All of these indices, unfortunately, in the red. So looking rather somber for us this morning, Cheryl.
Somber for us this morning, but we have two of our experts who are shining bright and smiling also more brightly. We have Kunal Bothra, who's joining us on the technicals, while on the fundamentals this morning we have Rajesh Agarwal, who's joining us to help you make better investment decisions, especially when it comes to your financials in the stock market. So let's get started with taking all of your stock related queries in our special edition of Deal or No Deal. And let's kickstart with the first one coming in from Sangeeta Bhalla, who's writing to us from Mumbai. She has about 1,000 shares of IDFC First Bank, which she's purchased at an average price of 54 rupees per share. She wants an expert view on the stock. What should she go ahead and what should she do with this one? Rajesh, let me come to you first and let me take your fundamental take on IDFC First Bank. What's your take coming in on this one? Because this stock did see a good run, but yes, earnings have not been enthusing for most of these banks at this point in time. Also, happy Dhanteras to you, and happy Dhanteras to you as well, Kunal.
Good morning, Cheryl. Good morning, Snehi. Good morning, Kunal. Before I come to the answers of the query, a very happy Dhanteras and Diwali to the entire team of Swadesh, the viewers, from me and my company Home Capital. And with this, I would like to say two lines for the entire viewers of ours, that निवेश में चाहिए मुनाफे की मिठास, पोर्टफोलियो में हो लक्ष्मी जी का वास, हर आईपीओ में आपका अलॉटमेंट लगे, आपके हर शेयर में अपर सर्किट लगे, धनतेरस से करें निवेश का शुभारंभ. With this, let's start with the query. And as you said, IDFC Bank, the numbers were disappointing to say the least. 73% decline in bottom line was not expected, although NII increased by 21%. what happened was the MFI division, we saw asset deterioration in that and a lot of provisioning being done. CASA ratio still it's at around 48.9%, but with the kind of number it has come and already the positives of the merger and all has been discounted in the price. I think there are better opportunities available in the market. I would suggest sell at a rise kind of thing. 70, 72 would be a good level to book out profit. One can switch to some other banks like a Bank of Maharashtra or IndusInd Bank, which have shown a sharp cut in the last 2-3 days. Or for the safer side, the safest at this point of time is HDFC Bank with the kind of size it has, and we expect HDFC Bank to report around 80,000 odd crores of profit next year. Asset quality is good. So these are some of the better names in the banking space where we would like to suggest our viewers.
So that's a no deal coming in from IDFC First Bank from Rajesh. But Kunal, before we get your views on that, we had Rajesh who shared some really good quotes for all of our viewers. This Dhanteras, about you, what about you?
Well, I'll echo what Rajesh has said, IPOs में सारे allotment लगे and definitely stocks upper circuit जाए, because I think we require this kind of a mood and sentiment, especially in the kind of markets we are going through.
Right, we really need some good luck and good sentiment actually coming in for the markets, isn't it, Snehi?
Absolutely, Cheryl. That's the need of the hour right now, it seems like. And it's been this way for a couple of weeks, in fact, that we've been seeing this kind of correction in the market. But on that note, Kunal, IDFC First Bank is a no deal coming in from Rajesh. What's your take on this? Because last 6 months, 1 month, YTD, the stock has been consolidating. Earnings have not been that great on the fundamental as well. Give us your technical take and tell us on the charts, is this stock a deal or a no deal?
For once, I think me and Rajesh may probably be in some sort of a disagreement over here, because I strongly believe that IDFC First Bank, I think, is a very strong, potential buy or a potential turnaround candidate. Now, we go back to the charts from 2020 when the stock formed a major low for itself. This was at a point when the stock was almost at 15 to 20 rupees approximately. Now, from here on started a major journey of a strong uptrend for IDFC First Bank. What started off was a process of the stock. So, prior to this, as you can see, that the stock was forming a pattern of lower highs and lower lows. So, it, was going through a major downtrend cycle, which started off, from 2015-16 for the stock price. But then from 2020 lows, you saw the stock making a major high, correcting back again towards a major trendline support. And then from here on, the stock came back towards testing the levels of 100. And now it's almost on the verge of retesting this major support point. So when we look at this chart and the kind of major uptrend IDFC First Bank has gone through, I strongly believe that this zone of 55 to 60 should act as a major support as well as a major fulcrum point for the stock on the longer term basis. Like what happened in 2022 also, when the stock was one of the few ones private sector banking names which fell from almost 65, 70 to a point where the stock was almost at 25 to 30 odd points, 30 odd rupees. From here on started a major uptrend cycle. I strongly believe that a very similar kind of a cycle could probably start for IDFC First Bank from a longer term basis. So the stock has already gone through one of the worst phases of correction relatively as well as on an absolute basis. But I believe closer to this 55-60 mark should be a very good accumulating point. So if you've bought at 54 levels, I strongly believe that there could be an opportunity where you may look to average further in case if the stock happens to come back to that zone of 55 to 60.
The charts, this is looking like a good deal from Kunal. However, on the fundamentals from Rajesh's point of view, this is a no deal. But on that note, let's move on to the next query that's coming in from our viewer Sajish, and he has purchased Bharat Dynamics 278 shares at a price of 1,741. He's asking for an outlook on the stock, and Rajesh, let's come to you again for your outlook on the fundamental of the stock, and it's the part of the defense space. Now, we've seen a stellar rally for all of these defense stocks before they started to correct, be it railways, shipbuilders, just the defense pack in general. What's your view going ahead for this one, and do you think the times could turn around for this stock, and do you think this is a deal on the fundamentals?
See, Sneha said it right. The defense stocks ran up quite fast in a very short period of time. And that is the reason we are witnessing the kind of correction the entire pack, I would say. While the outlook for defense companies are positives, their inflated valuations have become a matter of concern among investors. Fundamentals are still strong. The order book is robust. strong revenue growth, visibility, and order book for next 5-10 years is there. But again, the mute question is uh, uh, the valuations have been stretched. As far as BDL is concerned, Bharat Dynamics, it's a leading ammunition and missile manufacturer. It's facing multiple challenges, I would say, like muted executions, delays in receiving critical components, geopolitical tension in the Middle East. And but the best part is order book is around 20,000 odd crores, which is revenue multiple of almost 7 to 8 years. So that gives a good revenue visibility. What I would say is one has to be in the stock for a long period of time. Yes, this shareholder has faced quite a loss from 1,700 odd rupees to 1,000 rupees. But now it's the time to wait for a longer period, maybe 12 to 18 months down the line. We might see some amount of good amount of upside from these levels. So it's a hold from my side.
Hold coming in from Rajesh, which means it's a deal. Rajesh, you would say that it makes sense to go ahead and buy this also, right?
See, it's if it falls by any chance for any reason, maybe results or market condition or whatever, around 900 levels would be a very good level to add.
900 would be good levels to add this one. So it's a deal coming in. If you look at the longer term perspective of Bharat Dynamics and Kunal, will this one be where you both have a consensus view on Bharat Dynamics? Is Bharat Dynamics a deal for you as well? Like the way how both of you all have long standing buy or a deal on ITC?
Well, yes, I think it's a consensus because I'll agree with what Mr. Rajesh also said on Bharat Dynamics. Now I'll go through a chart for the stock in a very similar stance what we discussed for IDFC First Bank from 2020 lows. The stock formed a major rally. So this is a major uptrend for the stock, which started off from a point when the stock was just at 10 to 15 rupees approximately. Now there is this very interesting behavior which is getting replicated for Bharat Dynamics as a chart, and the behavior is that after a major uptrend, the stock which gets into a zone where the stock consolidates, forms a top as well as a bottom for itself. Now from here on, what starts off is a process when the stock corrects. There is a phase of a pause which happens for years, for at least a period of 3 to 4 quarters or 1 to 2 years for the stock. This phase of a pause is more of a testing phase. So what happens is the stock after a phase of correction forms a bottom, but then the stock doesn't get into a V-shaped recovery or a V-shaped rally. The rally takes a lot of time for the stock to start off, but then what matters is the patience level for investors. So like for example, right now we've seen the stock getting into a very similar phase of a correction. There could be a point where closer to 900 the stock may form a bottom for itself, but then what could form is a phase of a pause where the stock for a few months, few quarters may take time to try and consolidate, but then that could be a sign where the stock may get ready for a bigger breakout on the upside. So definitely a deal on the longer term charts.
Bharat Dynamics turning out to be a deal both on the fundamentals. In fact, rather on the fundamentals, a buy on dip strategy coming in from Rajesh, but on the technicals, it's a very strong deal coming in from Kunal. But viewers, on that note, we'll slip into a very short break on this special edition of Deal or No Deal and keep it going with more stocks just on the other.
Welcome back. You're watching ET Now. This is the Diwali Special edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. That is a deal or no deal, where we have our experts actually break it down for you fundamentally as well as technically, whether you should go ahead with the holdings that you already have in a particular counter. Is it a deal or a no deal, whether it's a buy, sell or a hold? The next query that I have is coming in from JM Dave, who's writing to us from Rajkot, and he has about 23 shares of Trent at a price of around 7,870 rupees per share. He wants to know target for the stock. Also fundamentally, I'll come to you, Rajesh, to understand if Trent is a good stock at these levels to actually hold on to or go ahead and buy afresh. We know that Trent has been making huge strides when you talk about the way how the business is conducted, when you talk about the store additions, you talk about the new brands or the new genres they are actually entering into. What's your take coming in on Trent? Now is the right time to buy at these levels for the longer term or hold on to it?
See, when we look at trends, the only thing that comes to mind is flow. We have given this 3 years back as a Diwali pick. I remember very well that time it was around 3 figures, and now it's trading at around 7,000 plus levels. That's a phenomenal rise, almost 10 times in 3 years time horizon, I would say. It operates West Side and Zudio. They have forayed into mass price beauty segment like Zudio Beauty and continues to be very significantly outpacing the entire apparel industry. I would say they are rolling out new fashion formats as well as aggressive network store addition, as you said. And they have recently moved into lab grown diamonds too. That's the in thing at this point of time. Super hypermarket, star hypermarket business is doing very well and is expected to do well in near future. Although after this kind of run up, one can expect some kind of consolidation for some more time. But for a longer term horizon, it's a hold. And if it falls to maybe around 6,500 odd levels, one can even add to that.
Hold for now and add more on dips is the call coming in from the fundamental perspective for a trend. But Kunal, coming to you for how trend looks on the charts, it's been a very strong performer, and just on a year-to-date basis, the stock is more than doubled. It's been phenomenal on the charts. Are you penciling in this kind of rally to continue? Is it time for some sluggishness, some slowdown, a speed bump rather for trend on the charts? What's your outlook? And on the charts, is this stock a deal or a no deal?
I think we'll need to find a better adjective because very, strong rally may not be the best word for trend, because look at the chart and look at the graph. It was very difficult for me to actually map the charts for trend and trying to curtail this towards a frame which we have, because the charts over here, then these are small digit numbers. We may probably look at this as maybe few odd points where the stock would be, but this was a point where the stock was almost 100 to 200, 200 to 300, but now we are into the club of 8,000 approximately for trend. So this has been an exponential chart for the stock on the longer term basis. Now the concern for the stock, which I believe, and there are two questions which I think Cheryl would have Cheryl has asked, whether the stock is good, of course top quality stock, but whether the price levels are very attractive, and I think that's the bigger question for trend. The concern for the stock, which I spot on the charts, is the huge levels of overbought nature of indicators. So we are at a point where this is the monthly chart for the stock. We are at a point where the monthly RSI for trend is almost in the range of 95 to 98. These are extremely overbought territories for stock prices. So however lucrative the stock may look in terms of maybe the kind of quality which it has, but then these are exceptionally overbought levels of RSI. So at these points of RSIs, we've seen historically also that whenever, so now this chart is curtailed because of the range the stock has gone through, but there was this period where the RSI had reached levels of closer to 90, 95 for trend. From here on, what started off was a phase of a major pause which lasted for 2-3 years for the stock. So I think the concern over here for the stock on the longer term basis is the huge nature of overbought nature of RSI. That could probably indicate that maybe over the next 2 to 3 years, the stock may be a lot more range bound as well as consolidative rather than trending. So I think just on the basis of that, I'll probably suggest a no deal.
No deal coming from for trend from Kunal. And Kunal, actually, let me go back to that chart of the trend that you were showing us. And you said that the RSI is around 99 or 100 or so at this point.
95 to 98.
95 to 98. But trend has been in that range for a while, isn't it? Because you've spoken about this for a while, that the RSI levels suggest that it's an overbought stock, and it's still been there and it's still hovering around those levels, right?
Yeah, it's still hovering around those levels. So, as I said, that the momentum and the acceleration is always very high when the stock reaches those levels of 95 to 98. But then you have to remember that, this was history for the stock. What matters over here is that whether the stock can deliver same returns over the next 5 years, 10 years. With such kind of overbought natures of RSI, traders who enter into the stock expecting that the same returns which have happened for the last 5, 7 years, 10 years for the stock may get replicated, and they could be in for some sort of a disappointment, because what could happen first is that the stock may get into a phase of a prolonged pause. By pause, I don't mean that the stock may be stuck at a particular level. It may try and cross the previous highs or the lifetime highs, but the kind of rate of return which we had seen for the stock in the last 5, 10 years, a 2x, 3x, 5x, 10x kind of multiples which the stock has been going through, that may not happen for the next 3 to 5 years. And that's the only share of disappointment which I believe could probably happen for a trend, and that's why it's a no deal from my side.
Okay, so basically what you mean to say is that the stock price may move, just not at the momentum that we have seen it move over the last 3 or 5 years, and may not replicate the same momentum going ahead as well. So on that, it's a no deal coming in from Kunal, but it's a whole rating coming in from Rajesh. But let's move on, talk about the next query, and another Tata group of company is actually our next query that's been asked by our viewer Minakshi from Hyderabad. She has bought Titan at 3,400 rupees. She's not specified the number of shares that she has, but her buying price is at 3,400 rupees. Rajesh, coming to you, what is your view coming on Titan? Do you believe it's a fundamentally sound stock, and would you rate it as a deal or a no deal?
Fundamentally, it's a very sound stock, no doubt on that. As per the pre-quarter update released by the company, second quarter revenue has grown up by 25%. Growth was broad-based except for IV care business. They have strong outlook for jewelry business. Non-jewelry business is scaling up. And this company, the prime beneficiary of the market shift from unorganized to organized players in jewelry after the GST and all. Moreover, the ramping of the non-jewelry business is a key additional target, I would say. They have opened 24 new stores in Q4, second quarter. And the total store count at this point of time stands at 723. Trading at a PE of around 58 times FY26 earnings, I think the valuations are reasonable and the long-term outlook is very good. For by any chance, if the stock falls to around maybe 3,000 or 2,800 odd levels, one can even add to that. So it's a deal from our side.
Coming in for Titan, another group of Tata group of company, and what a day to ask a query about Titan, given the fact it is Dhanteras, and yes, auspicious day to buy actually jewelry, be it silver or gold. But Kunal, what's your take on Titan? Do you think this stock is pretty auspicious to go ahead and buy at these levels? 3,400 is a buy price coming in from Meenakshi. What sort of target would you give to this one?
So again, a very interesting chart. I'll showcase the first. I'll showcase the chart of what the trend is, looking like for Titan. And the more concerning part again for the stock on the near-term basis is this multiple resistances towards a level of 3,800. So as you can see, this is a monthly chart for Titans, and over the last 12 odd months from the previous year, this range has been unable to, the stock has been unable to break past about this range. So this is around 3,800, 3,850 mark for Titan. Look at the multiple attempts the stock has been going through towards a retest of this major resistance on the upside, which means that there is some sort of a supply or a resistance which is originating for the stock on the longer term basis. Now, what that what could happen to the stock price is that there could be a phase where the stock may get into a correction like what we've seen so far into this month, and this has been one of the sharpest month of corrections for Titan, as you can see with this major red candlestick pattern for the stock, as compared to the previous 4 attempts where the stock is trying to make a clawback from 3,000 levels to almost 3,800 levels, which it tested a couple of months back. The good part about the stock is that there has been a strong floor as well as a support for the stock around the 3,000 level. So my sense is that the stock over the next 1 or 2 months could probably come back to retest this levels of 3,000, 3,100. At these prices is where you should look to average for Titan. Or on the other hand, in case if the stock doesn't correct below the 3,000 mark, doesn't give you that opportunity, whenever the stock breaks out of that 3,800 mark, could be a start of a fresh bull cycle for Titan. So I think on both cases, it's a buy on dips as well as a sell on breakout, as well as a buy on breakout for Titan in whichever scenario and whatever happens first for the stock.
Okay, so two scenario buy calls coming in. So Kunal, it's a clear deal for you coming in this time?
Yeah, it's a deal from my side. And as I said, in either of the cases, whether stock hits 3,000, 3,100 levels, or even if it rallies back to 3,800 mark, I think it's a very good buy from a long-term play.
Okay, looking good. In fact, on the charts, Titan, at least Cheryl, it's looking very good, and good bullish calls coming in from both our guests.
Absolutely, bullish calls coming in from both our guests for Titan. So one more stock where we can say both of you guys have a consensus on, apart from ITC, apart from Bharat Dynamics. But what about RVNL? Because we have Sri Hari from Mumbai, who's holding RVNL at a price of around 603, and not just RVNL, also Titagarh Rail Systems at the price of around 1,677. A viewer wants to know whether it would be a good move to go ahead and add some more of both of these counters into the portfolio at current low levels. Rajesh, over to you first. PSU counters or railway counters in particular, both of them. Do you think now is the right time to buy these counters? They've seen a good correction, just like the way how defense or power stocks have seen.
See, Sheryl, what happened last year was a very great year for investors in PSU, defense, and all those railways, I would say. It was perplexing to say the least, but somewhere down the line, greed overtook valuations, and that is what has happened to the entire defense space or a railway space. So I would say still at this point of time, some of the railway stocks looks overstretched on valuation. As far as RVNL is concerned, it is an executing arm of Indian Railways, works on behalf of the Ministry of Power projects assigned to them for execution. It works on turnkey basis and undertakes the full cycle of project development. And recently, last week or so, they became the lowest bidder for a project worth 270 odd crores. All things said and done, valuations are still stretched. Trading at a P of 60 plus, I don't think at this point of time adding would be a prudent idea. One can hold this, and when some good numbers come in and the stock gets re-rated once again, then it would be a addition. At this point of time, it's only a hold.
Right. So that's the view coming in from Rajesh. But Snehi, this particular counters or these counters, railway stocks, a lot of us also linked to the way how we've also been traveling and the way how we see things advance right in front of our eyes, isn't it?
Absolutely. And Cheryl, there was a time when the word I want to use is investors were getting FOMO. The people who had missed out on cashing into this rally, there was such a big level of FOMO in the market when it came to these stocks. But after the correction, let's go across to Kunal and ask him, in fact, if it's a good deal now on the charts. Kunal, what are you spotting when it comes to either of these railway counters on the charts? And even overall as a pack, do you think post-correction, now you see some strength building in on the charts for them?
Yeah, so I think the FOMO would have converted to JOMO, joy of missing out, especially for traders who have, would have not bought at higher levels for many of these railway names. But, the charts are very interestingly poised for RVNL. And of course, whatever limited history the stock has, we can see that there's a very interesting behavior the stock price has with respect to the previous or the levels of indicators with respect to the previous corrections the stock went to. So this is the recent charts for RVNL when the stock rallied from, this base in 2022 towards a point when the stock touched 500 to 600 levels also. Now there's this interesting trendline support, as you can see, that the stock completes a corrective phase. So this last 2 years of rally which has happened for the stock, generally sees a pause or an end towards the correction whenever it comes closer to a major support trend line. So currently the support trend line for RVNL is around the 400 mark for the stock on a round figure basis. So it could be around 380 to 400 as a support for the stock. But the best part or the better part for the stock is in the RSI. Because right now what we're seeing is that the RSI has come back towards a major point when the stock has established a strong support zone for itself. So this has been the point where the stock forms a base. There is a pause towards the previous leg of correction, and here on starts the process of a new uptrend or a new bull trend, which could probably last for many years to come by for the stock. So we are almost on that cusp where the stock is going through a process of a completion of a previous corrective phases, which means from here on, a buy on dips could be a very good strategy. In case if the stock corrects further, say retests the trend line around the 400 mark, that could be a very good opportunity for you to average further.
So yes, that's a deal coming in for RVNL for Kunal as well, and also ditto coming in for from Rajesh as well. And Kunal and Rajesh, apart from the fact that you all have to keep up with the fact that the companies end up changing their names, there's a change in the company name, you all have to also keep up with new abbreviations in the markets, isn't it? Is it tough, Kunal?
No, not exactly.
Not exactly.
I mean, with experience, you tend to learn.
Oh, what about you, Rajesh? Have you added some more new words into your vocabulary that you can use?
See, every day is a new learning day in the market. It's a consistent. I would call myself a consistent learner. Every day I learn something new. So every day something new comes up, be it through a probability or a market trend or a market functioning. So it's a learning day, I would say, learning cycle, I would say.
We let you go. Do you like the way you started the show? Do you have any conclusive message, any goodbye message, just in 2 lines for our viewers?
See, आपकी दिवाली में आपके डीमैट में हो पटाखों की बरसात और रहे खुशियों की बरसात आपकी इस दिवाली से अगली दिवाली तक हमारी शुभकामनाएं आपके साथ.
Absolutely, and that positive and optimistic note. Thank you so much, Kunal, as well as Rajesh, for joining us on the special edition of Deal or No Deal. But on the other side of the break, we will start taking your queries in Buy Now, Sell Now viewers. So don't go anywhere. We'll have Aditya Arora joining us on the technicals, while we'll have Rajesh Agarwal continue with us for fundamentals.